Our first speaker is one of our newer club members. He's not our newest club member, but he is pretty close. He's going to be giving us a speech from the Competent Communicators Manual. This will be the second manual speech out of that book. His title is Nirahara Samyama Ram Kapoor.
Hello friends. Nirahara Samyama, what does it mean? Nirahara means without food or water. And Samyama means the technique to find the potential of what a human body can do. So Nirahara Samyama means it's a process to figure out what a body can do without food and water. Would you like to know if it is possible to survive without food and water? How would be the life if you are free from eating food and water? Probably you don't have to do a job. You can wander around anywhere you want to eat, do whatever you want to be. Most of the times we get stuck to the job, rationalizing, oh, you need to eat, right? You need to buy food, right? So we rationalize everything with food. So today I'm going to talk about an ancient technique which I have learned from a master, and this is not very widespread in the West, but I would really take this opportunity to share the information and wisdom in this technique, what he has revealed. So the theory of this technique is like this. In the East they believe reincarnation, life, death, life, death, life, death. So what happens in this process is, at every life and every death, you collect knowledge and wisdom and you move on. So this wisdom and knowledge is stored in something called as biomemory. And we are all made of 5 elements: water, earth, air, ether, and fire. And not only that, we also have consciousness, which is continuous, it doesn't break. The body just changes, but the consciousness comes in and goes out in a new body. So what happens, the theory says, you start with a stone, when the consciousness grows, you go to the trees. When the consciousness grows, you go to the animals. When your consciousness grows, you come to the human being. That's the ultimate state of being one can be in terms of consciousness. And then you can go backwards also if you choose to. It's a freedom of choice, freedom of will. So when you are in the West, we know about evolution, we have heard about evolution. They say that the physical body evolves over a period of million years. But in the East, they don't think about the body. They say that consciousness evolves over a period of time, at every birth, at every reincarnation. So this is the difference between the Eastern thought and the Western thought process. So what happens when we were in the tree body? We had the intelligence to convert the sunlight, the water, and air into food. That intelligence is still there, even today, with us, but it is hidden deep in our subconscious mind. And the whole technique of Nirahara Samyama is all about digging out that intelligence and bringing it to the surface. So the story goes like this. We were a tree at one point in time. We had the intelligence of creating food out of all these elements and then living. But then we went into the consciousness of an animal and we started eating a lot. And that pushed down that intelligence. So eating food became the intelligence from outside. And then that carried on forward when we became human beings, in human being consciousness, that still carried on. So, like when we buy a Windows computer, how many of you do you know that you can even install Linux in it? Very few people. Only probably, professional computer engineers know about how to do that. But you go by default, what you get. So normally when a human being is born today, he goes by default of eating food until he is configured of how to survive on those elements. So the knowledge about Nirahara Samyama is the technique of configuring your system so that you can enable the hidden power that you have to survive on light, water, air, and space. It's pretty mind-blowing. I have studied it and have been studying it for the last 6 months. I have met people who have been living like that for 6 months. My master is training them. So it's a slow and gradual process. You don't suddenly stop eating. Obviously you will die because you're not yet configured to work on that system. It's a step-by-step slow process where one evolves emotionally, mentally, intellectually, of dealing with stuff, and that intelligence just shows upon. You cannot think. It is an internal experience, and it's very difficult to share. I know this is a very challenging topic. Modern science is still growing. I won't say modern science has reached its limits, but there is a lot of scope for modern science to investigate in this area, and there are willing participants who are ready to experiment. You'll not find a lot of people. If you ask people, people will mostly say, I love to eat food, why would I drop it? They even get offended just with this idea of what? Not to eat food? Impossible, I can't even think about it. Why would anybody do that? But there are a lot of applications of this, and I know it's pretty outrageous idea, but let me give you one more outrageous idea. There was a philosopher in Persia, his name was Rumi. He said, you are not a drop in the ocean, but you are an ocean in the drop. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Ram. Well, as a scientist, I find it very interesting, but human beings are heterotrophic. We can't photosynthesize, so I have to think about that a bit.
Opportunity to evaluate Ram's speech, Nirahara Samyama. There are times in our lives when we're all introduced to new breakthrough thoughts and ideas, challenges that in most cases few of us grasp. And Ram, that's what you did up here today, is you challenged us to look at alternative ways to not only fuel our bodies, but fuel our souls. It's obvious that you're very comfortable with the topic. You came across as very knowledgeable, confident, using good gestures and body language. The eye contact, I saw a lot of eye contact this way. I'm not sure if it was directed at me because I was your evaluation or your evaluator. I did see eye contact over here. I just don't know that it was as concentrated as I got. A couple of things that I think that you could do to improve the impact of the speech. The first has to deal with the beginning and the end. I'm a firm believer in that people remember what you start with and what you end with. Everything else in the middle is kind of, yeah, maybe I'll come up with that, but what I remember is what you start with and what you end with. So my suggestion would be to do just what I did, and that was challenge people when you come up here. I've got a unique theory that can help you shed pounds and inches faster than any potion or formula that's out there. Are you interested? Yes. In today's society, with how everybody struggles with weight and fitness, you automatically grab everybody's attention. Then, at the end, make sure you make good on the promise. The quote was good. I enjoyed the quote, but had a hard time relating that back to the topic. You showed me the mind map that you used to prepare for the speech. Lots of material that you had to try to cram into a 5 to 7 minute speech. You did a good job communicating the topic, the definition, the background, and condensing that down into something I think that we could all take away with us as you challenged us to live on water, light, air, and I guess soil. Maybe
Space.
Space, that was the other one. Thank you. Back to my role as general